How many crypto channels do you know that talked about Keeta or the KTA token early? It's again one of the top performers this week. The question is, will this rally continue? And of course, what's driving this rally? Is this short-term manipulation or is this actually long-term acquisition by many investors? Let's have a look at the long-term data. Let's have a look at what's happening on chain. Now, Keeta hasn't just been up this week. It appreciated more than 500% this month. We are now at $1.64. The first video on this channel was published 84 days ago. But interestingly enough, not many people watched that. There seems to be a common theme within crypto. Most altcoins tend to underperform. There are a few that outperform, but even those outperformers tend to have very little attention, especially at the beginning when they're still very small. Now here's another video on Keeta that followed again an underperformer. So the average video is here in gray and that specific video is the line in blue. And another video, again an underperformer. Still, I continue making more and more videos even though nobody watches them. But I do it anyways just to point it out afterwards, right? At one point when Keeta is large enough and all the masses come, then you know this is a channel that talked about it early. So by the way, feel free to subscribe over here. I publish videos regularly. And that is not just on various altcoins, it is also on the general market as a whole. So yeah, quick summary. The first video was published when we were at 15 cents. Now we are up 11x since then. But why are we up? And how much higher can we potentially go? What's driving all of it? Let's have again a look at the on-chain data. Keeta is now the third largest altcoin on the base chain. And that is in terms of the trending tokens ordered by their liquidity. The only tokens that are larger is Aerodrome, which is the largest decentralized exchange on Base, and Coinbase Wrapped Bitcoin, which has two liquidity pools. So adding those two together, it brings us number 2, and then Keeta is number 3. This is the impressive chart. And of course, it can be somewhat daunting to buy into a chart like this, right? When something is going up and we know about the volatility in crypto, we don't want to be the sucker that's the exit liquidity that's buying high in order to then having to sell low. But we have to find out what's driving this rally and how much longer this can go on. What is definitely not driving this rally is short-term leverage with perpetual futures or manipulation by centralized exchanges. Because still, most trading volume happens on the spot market and it's directly on-chain via Aerodrome and Uniswap. It's not on the centralized exchanges. There are perpetual futures, but they're pretty much irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. When we just look at the trading volume, it doesn't really matter compared to what's happening on spot. And so let's have a look at spot. Let's have a look at the on-chain data. We've got more than 92,000 holders on chain now. Let's first see what happened in the last month. So when the price appreciated by more than 500%. What we see over here is the number of returning users over time. So there are new users entering the token. There are returning users that continue trading, potentially buying in again, dollar cost averaging, or buying and selling actively. And we can see very nicely how this is growing over time. We can ignore the latest data point because that's today and today hasn't yet finished. It wouldn't be surprising to see yet another all-time high in returning users today. What we see over here is the number of retail investors versus whale investors over time. So to be counted for the chart on the left, a wallet has to hold at least 1,000 KTA tokens. At the current price, that's more than $1,000. For the chart in the middle, it's 10,000 tokens, so a 10x from the left. And on the right, it's another 10x, so 100,000 tokens. Again, quick reminder, currently the price is at $1.64. We can see how all wallet cohorts in the last 30 days tended to accumulate KTA. Now the accumulation is very, very constant, and that of course helps with the chart. It's going constantly up, but it's noteworthy that even though relatively speaking, the number of whales didn't grow as much as the number of retail investors, the price impact that the whales have over that time period was larger than what happened with the small retail investor. Because again, this is 1,000 tokens, this is 10,000 tokens, this is 100,000 tokens. So when this is going up by 40 wallets, that's equivalent to this chart here on the left going up by 4,000 wallets. And in fact, this appreciated by less than 3,000. So in the end, this here is more important than this here. If the whales were to sell right now, so if this number was to go down by 40 instead of going up by 40, then even this quick accumulation by retail investors could not offset that. So really, it matters what the whales are doing. Now, why are the whales buying? probably because of the accumulation by retail. So once the retail accumulation slows down, the whales might pull the trigger and then sell, and then a crash could occur. Now, I don't think this will happen anytime soon, because first of all, the accumulation by retail investors is very, very constant. It's very quick. The number of retail investors almost doubled in the last month. And then again, the token isn't yet traded on the centralized exchanges that much. And once it will get traded over there, then probably the attention on YouTube will also go up, because then the centralized exchanges are going to promote the heck out of the token. This is not what's currently happening with the token. Currently, the token is still flying under the radar for most people. Let's have a look at the all-time holder chart. So here we've got our appreciation of 910%, and here are the number of holders, an initial accumulation by retail, then some slow time in between, and a secondary accumulation. The whales never sold, they bought very quickly at the beginning, then there was the second run, and they continue to slowly add exposure. And that's why the price never really saw any real struggles. Here's the all-time logarithmic chart of KTA. Our first accumulation, then the sideways movement, and now the second accumulation. This price chart looks extremely similar to the accumulation chart by retail. And again, this is healthy. As long as the whales are not dumping, and as long as the number of small holders continues rising, things are extremely healthy with Keeta. Here's another all-time chart. This is the number of sellers and of buyers over time. There were some bots apparently that trade the token very actively on 2 days. So the number of buyers is a bit distorted, but the data in the number of sellers seems to be rather organic. And again, yesterday we saw an all-time high, and today hasn't yet finished. We might grow further. So on-chain, everything looks extremely healthy. The market cap with 660 million isn't yet huge. And I wouldn't be surprised if this video yet again doesn't get a lot of views. But this channel is not just about getting most views and talking about something when it's already popular. This channel is about identifying opportunities when the masses haven't yet discovered it. Now, some people might make the argument that all of this analysis doesn't help at all because markets are efficient. But I tend to disagree, because it's people that make markets efficient. There are clearly winners and losers in the game, and the winners tend to continue to win. So it's not just a game of luck, it's a game of luck and skill. And the nice thing about crypto is that we've got much more data in this market compared to other markets, because every transaction is publicly recorded on the blockchain. But very few people actually use that data properly. And that's in the end where winners and losers are born. People that don't look into the details enough, they tend to lose over time. That's the vast majority. Now, the charts that you've seen in this video come from a tool that I've developed myself on top of the Dune Analytics platform. It's part of the premium membership of this channel. There are two dashboards. There's a dashboard for Ethereum related blockchains. So those are the ones we can analyze. We can plug in any token into this tool, and then we can see how many large holders are there, how many small holders are there, how many new users enter a token, and how many buyers and sellers do we have over time. It's also always useful to look at the token ownership, right? Is a token mainly held just by the whales, by the people that have more than $100,000 worth of the token? If that's true, it's potentially, especially if that happened forever, a quite dangerous token. And so this is how I think about this fundamentally. The target with trading and with investing is to be better informed than the average, to be the person that makes the market efficient. If we are better skilled than the average person, then we should over time also make positive expected value bets. That means that not every single trade will be positive, but on average we should make money. Again, because we can estimate the probabilities better. We can see the dangers and the potential upsides better. Now, I have made more than 100 tutorial videos on various topics within crypto. How to do on-chain analytics, how to build a Dune dashboard like we've just seen, but of course you also get access to the dashboard itself. Also about risk management, about how to properly use leverage, if that's your thing. All kinds of videos. Feel free to check them out. The newest video is this one, how to use perpetual futures and how to use the Hyperliquid platform to beat others. The videos are posted on the website, but they're also posted directly in Telegram. And here's the feedback to that tutorial. Feel free to stop the video and read through this yourself. But of course, we also need to start somewhere. And so I'm personally, of course, sharing my own trades as well as I open them. Of course, I can't share the newest trades here on YouTube, but have a look at this. This is on March 3rd. I'm adding another short, Cardano, relative to the US dollar, and the explainer was in a premium update video. So I publish premium update videos every 3 to 4 days. I then added more exposure on the 11th of March, and I then closed it on the 7th of April. So of course, not every trade works out that well, but Cardano went down relative to Bitcoin by 36% during that time. And so with this membership, I want to do both. Of course, I want to make it profitable very quickly. That's why I share my trades, but I also want that the vast majority, at least, of the members takes the time to learn as much as possible. That in the end, you might not even need the membership anymore. You can make your own profitable trades. Now have a look at this. This is where our members share their winning trades. If you use the right leverage, if you know how to do proper risk management as well, you can make hundreds of % in a single trade. It's all about being prepared and knowing the data better than most other market participants. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 US per month. The price has been reduced because currently the attention on crypto is still relatively low. Once Bitcoin hits new all-time highs again, then I might go back to the 165. But the 125 is locked in for everybody that signs up now. So when the price increases, when you are still subscribed, your price will not increase. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in Premium. There's also a link to Premium directly here on the right. Just click on that. It will lead you directly to the website. So see you next time. Cheers.